I'm live now. I'm not gonna tell the world. Brittany. I'm just gonna kick it off. All right. Good evening, everyone. We're gonna go ahead and get this rolling. We'll move slowly for the final introductions. But no, good evening. Thank you for attending the February 4th Zoning Committee work session. My name is Andrew Blumenthal. It is my pleasure to serve as chairman of the Zoning Committee of the Planning Commission. This meeting is being streamed online via the Planning Department's YouTube page in accordance with all applicable meeting statutes. Requirements for notice, access, and minutes are being met by electronic means as well. A few quick orders of business. Please keep your mic muted when not speaking and state your name when making a motion or a second. The public hearings for these zoning petitions that we are discussing this evening have been held at a previous date in front of the Charlotte City Council and the Zoning Committee. As an important reminder, this meeting does not serve as a continuation of those hearings. Therefore, there will be no public input unless the committee has a specific question, in which case we may suspend the rules and ask the petitioner and or the relevant party directly. Let's go ahead and get started with introductions. Great timing. We'll start all the way to my left with Commissioner Seeley.
Clayton Seeley, Planning Commission.
Aaron Shaw, Planning Commission.
Shauna Neely, Planning Commission.
Teresa McDonald, Planning Commission.
Robin Stewart, Planning Commission.
Rick Winiker, Planning Commission.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll do staff around the dais and then followed by online participants. Holly, would you mind starting?
Holly Kramer, planning staff.
Joe Mangum, Planning Staff.
Max Oliver, Planning Staff.
Mike Russell, Planning Staff.
Stuart Valzonis, Planning Staff.
Dave Pettin, Planning.
Raquel Jones, planning staff.
Emma Canarhas, planning staff.
Thank you very much. I'm sure we have a few online participants as well. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves, please.
Jay Carpenter, CDOT.
Isaiah Washington, CDOT. Drew Ritter, CDOT.
Travis Miller, CDOT.
Chris Mano, CDOT.
Natalie King, CDOT.
Perfect. Thank you. To kick things off, we have, unless there was something very last minute, only 2 deferrals this evening. Those will be petitions number 2024047 and 2024072. May I please have a motion for the deferrals?
Shauna Neely, motion to defer.
Shaw, second.
All right, motion by Neely, second by Shaw. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Kicking things off this evening, 2024-014 KB Holdings LLC. Emma, please.
2024-014 is approximately 0.98 acres located on the north side of West Boulevard, south side of Nobles Avenue, and west side of Ola Bird Lane. The site is currently vacant. The current zoning is B1 conditional, and the proposed zoning is N2B, Neighborhood 2B. The 2040 policy map recommends the Neighborhood 2 place type for this site, which makes this rezoning petition consistent with the 2040 policy map recommendation. This petition is a conventional petition, therefore there is no associated site plan, but I do want to highlight that this site is well connected to public transit with 2 CATS bus routes nearby. Additionally, the site is within walking distance of a Mecklenburg County Park, of a CMS K-8 school, and walking distance to the Greenway. The rezoning is to a denser district with more residential options, makes sense in areas with good access to transit and nearby services, as it provides housing options for people who rely on those connections. I'll take any questions zoning committee might have.
Thank you very much, Emma. Any questions around the dais? Kicking this on off with a bang. All right. If there are no additional questions, I don't have any myself. Happy to entertain a motion.
McDonald, motion to approve. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2024-014 as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Do we have a second?
Shaw, second.
All right, motion by McDonald, second by Shaw. All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Moving right along, petition 2024-102 by Drakeford Communities. And Joe, I believe you're a lead on this one.
This petition is approximately 11.85 acres located on the north side of Sunset Road, west of Linda Vista Lane, and east of Carpenter Cabin Drive. Site is largely undeveloped, but does have a natural gas easement bisecting it. Current zoning is N1A. Proposed zoning is N2A/CD. 2040 policy map recommends neighborhood 1 place type. The proposal is for a community of 79 multifamily attached residential dwelling units. Buildings would have no more than 4 units. Establishes a public street network to provide access to the units from Sunset Road while connecting to a neighboring public street. Maintains the existing substation and natural gas easement that bisects the site. Be a 10-foot Class C landscape yard with 6-foot fence along the eastern, western, and northern property boundaries, with the exception of the areas within the natural gas easement. Commits to usable porches and stoops as predominant features of building design. Agrees to coordinate with Mecklenburg County to dedicate an area for connection to future McIntyre Creek Greenway. Commits to several transportation improvements, including public street network and private alley to access units, an eastbound left turn lane into the site from Sunset Road, an 8-foot planting strip and 12-foot multi-use path along the site's Sunset Road frontage, an 8-foot planting strip and 10-foot sidewalk along the eastern side of the north-south public street, and a 6-foot sidewalk along the western side of the north-south public street, and recessed parking along the public street to provide visitor parking. Since the public hearing, the petitioner provides a site plan to commit to coordinating with Mecklenburg County to dedicate an easement within the natural gas easement for future McIntyre Creek tributary greenway. After that site plan was submitted, I did hear from the petitioner that they are wanting to keep the option for the 10-foot sidewalk along the public street in the event that they are not able to obtain the easement from Piedmont Natural Gas prior to the first CO. So I believe the intent is to acquire that easement. They are wanted to maintain the option for that 10-foot sidewalk in the event they can't obtain the easement. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to transportation and site and building design. Petition is inconsistent with the policy map recommendation for neighborhood 1 place type. However, the multifamily attached dwellings would provide an additional housing option in an area identified as being in a housing gap. The site is less than 2/3 mile from a neighborhood center with retail and services. The Beatties Ford Road, Sunset Road Pedestrian Improvements Project would provide sidewalk connectivity between the site and the neighborhood center. The petition would allow development of a site that's heavily encumbered by a natural gas easement while improving street connectivity. And the petition commits to coordinating with Mecklenburg County to dedicate an easement for access to future McIntyre Creek tributary greenway. And I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Joe. Any questions on this one? Commissioner Woodard.
Joe, on the post-hearing notes, page 6, outstanding issues after public hearing. Item number 3 confirms revised note 5 to state that greenway easement shall be dedicated and conveyed to Mecklenburg County prior to the issuance of the first CO. The magic language that Mecklenburg County needs is that it's set aside through dedication and actually conveyed through a real estate transaction. Has there been some change to that note, or is that still outstanding?
That was an outstanding issue based on the revised plan that we received and before we received more information from the petitioner. There are concerns about being tied to the dedication prior to the first CEO. So that remains unresolved as of right now. Understand the petitioner is planning to submit a revised plan that would state the option, if they're not able to acquire that easement prior to the first CO, that they would then be able to proceed with the 10-foot sidewalk.
What they're saying is the easement from Piedmont Natural Gas.
Correct.
And and just for the remaining commissioners, from what I understand, and Joe, correct me if you have a different understanding, the greenway can't run along the natural gas easement. They can't build the greenway on top of the gas pipeline. It kind of makes sense. They can kind of dip onto that easement a little bit. They could use portions of it, but in order for this to work, could you put up the an aerial view again? I think it was the first slide. Yeah, yeah, the next one, the closer in one. Yeah, thank you. So obviously, well, I strike that. Could you pull up that site plan image? I'm so sorry. Yeah, that one, please. Thank you. So you see kind of on the western, or from the way this is oriented, assuming that's north-south, right? On the western side of the left edge of the lot is kind of where that greenway would come in. During the public hearing, you remember the neighbors said it's odd that the greenway would be going down that roadway, and that you have a greenway cutting across people's driveways and things like that. It is certainly that would be a terrible plan. And so I contacted Park and Rec, had a brief email exchange with Joe, confirmed that the language needs to be very clear, that land needs to be set aside and conveyed near that easement so they can build the greenway section lot. It sounds very much like the developer is not clear on what the developer's plans are with respect to this lot. There are several things up in the air. Joe, one more question. Did I hear, I can't remember if I read it or saw it, but that there was some question about whether or not they wanted to try to subdivide the lot later or something like that? Do I have this one right? No. Okay. Please strike that then. Thank you. Regardless, the Greenway plan, because that is one of the, as I recall during the public hearing, that as the developer was pitching this to the city, was being very, very, very clear that they were trying to be public-minded about this and that we're providing this amenity to the community. It's also a terrific draw for the developer to have a greenway running right through your lot. How fantastic would that be? But we want to make sure this is done right. And what I would propose is I would make a motion to defer this until the developer can get with Park and Rec and come up with an acceptable, appropriate language, as opposed to simply coordinating later is not an adequate designation of a greenway. And what it sounds like is it would be a bait and switch where we would have a greenway running across driveways. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Winiger. I have a thought on that, but I would like to see what everyone else's opinions are first. We have Commissioner McDonald, then Shaw. We'll start there. Commissioner McDonald.
I'm curious, so is it your understanding, Rick, and is it correct to say that this idea of this greenway connection is a benefit to the community outside of this townhome community? Because it seems like if it's not, then, you know, the greenway could start, you know, wherever it starts, and you don't traverse or end at this community, I guess. I'm sorry if that's starting to sound confused, but I don't know that it's a good reason to delay a vote on this particular petition. I think having the housing in this location is enough of a benefit without, you know, this very complicated sounding greenway extension that can't go along the pipeline, but also can't go along the, you know, crossing all the driveways. And that's my comment on the greenway. Otherwise, I don't really see an issue with taking a vote on this.
Rick, I had just wanted to ask, so I think if I understood the note correctly in the, sort of the delay, or if we're gonna call it that, it's a delay from Piedmont in making that, or they haven't been able to get with Piedmont to get clarity on that commitment, it sounds like, from what you said and what the note said. I guess my question to you, Rick, would be so let's assume sort of worst case is Piedmont says, no, you can't run any portion of our utility. So what would be your proposed solution to the developer?
I misspoke, if I
okay.
may.
Sure.
Well, I mean, I wasn't sufficiently clear apparently. That the developer, this isn't really a question of talking with Piedmont Natural Gas. That's not where the holdup is, and that's not where the issue is. What Park and Rec needs from the developer is a commitment to convey necessary land around that easement for a dedicated land conveyance easement to Mecklenburg County. What the developer is saying instead is, no, we don't want to do that. We'll just wait till later and we'll figure it out later, but we're not going to commit to dedicating the necessary land for that easement for the greenway. And what I'm saying,
I'm sorry, I just was gonna ask, so what you'd like to see is, I don't know if it's 8 feet or 10 feet alongside the gray area on one side or the other dedicated to addition of a greenway and presumably a reduction of units.
they've talked to Park and Rec about what Park and Rec needs. Everybody knows what they need. It's the language in the note on here. And so they're trying to change the language to say, we'll get with Park and Rec later, instead of the usual, when other developers come in and they say, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna help put a greenway through our site and offer that. They use the language, the greenway easement shall be dedicated and conveyed to Mecklenburg County prior to the issuance of the first CO. That's the language. But the developer is not wanting to commit to that. And so we should be clear that what the developer was saying was that they have a wonderful greenway amenity that would be coming to the property. But in fact, this is potentially going to fizzle out. So the developer shouldn't be able to say, we are offering a greenway through this property without getting it properly coordinated. It seems to me that this is a resolvable issue. And I think that the deferral would be extremely beneficial, not only to the future residents of this community, but to everyone in Mecklenburg County to make sure it's done right. So that was my proposal. I agree with Teresa's comment about, we definitely need housing and that sort of thing. But we also need to make sure that the greenway is properly laid in. Now is the only, for the next 100 years or 1,000 years, if it becomes like Rome, it'll be a great thing to have. But if it's done shoddily at this stage, and that's what the developer is proposing. Thank you.
Is it developer here?
Thank you very much, Commissioner Winiger. 2 questions, or not 2 questions, 2 points. And I know that Commissioner Neely just brought one of them up. I know that we have the petitioner's agent in the room. I know that we have Parks and Rec on the line. Would a conversation, obviously centered around a very specific question as it needs to be, but would a conversation with either of those people help give any clarity to your decision making here? And that's a question to everyone here. Go for it.
Okay. Commissioner Neely, if the people are present, is there opportunity for us to discuss this so as to not defer it?
So what we need to do if we suspend the rules is it has to be for a specific question. It can't just be an open-ended discussion, right? So if there's a question and we can work together to formulate what that question may be, then we may absolutely do that, right?
If Park and Rec is on the line, let's hear from them real briefly first, maybe.
That,
That's not a suspending the rules issue, that's a staff issue.
is that correct? Okay, yeah, then by all means, if we have a few points that we would like to discuss with them, let's get an order of events. Commissioner Winiker, would you like to start? Park and Rec?
Sure, I don't know who was here with Park and,
Let's get Winiker, then McDonald, then Neely.
okay,
I'm told that there is not anyone from Park and Rec.
okay.
Well, that is gonna change our plans then. All right, well, in that case, I know that we have the petitioner's agent. Would that still be helpful?
I think in a vacuum, the problem is that we know what the language, he put the language in here in this document.
Right.
And what I'm saying is the petitioner's trying to withdraw from that language. Whatever excuse they have, it's insufficient and would need for them to, we would be the backstop to help facilitate this conversation to make sure it gets resolved prior to city council. And that's
Understood.
my motion to defer.
Understood. Are you, well, let's hold on the motion 1 second. Understood and agreed. I think that Joe made a comment to me offline before this that Parks and Rec was largely in agreement with this revised note. However, I would like to understand better from them why exactly they are in agreement with it, right? I feel like they could resolve a lot of this issue. Rick, if you'd like to make a motion to defer, go ahead. If anybody wants to suspend the rules, well, that's not too late to do that, but it doesn't seem like that's gonna answer the question right now. So Commissioner Winiker, if you would like to make a motion, go ahead.
Make a motion to defer?
I'd like to suspend the rules and ask one question. Is that?
No,
okay?
by all means, by all means.
Okay. So do I
all
need
right,
to vote?
Commissioner,
Do we need to
so
vote?
we need to vote to suspend the rules. So you need to make a motion to suspend the rules
Okay.
with your specific question, and this will be for the petitioner's agent. Am I right?
Right, yeah.
Okay, so motion to suspend the rules with your specific question, followed by second. and
Just
vote.
say the question before we vote.
Yeah, we need to make a
Oh,
motion
okay.
around the specific question, correct?
So I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules and ask a question of the petitioner's agent. I would like to ask the petitioner's agent for their, I guess, position on, I'm not wording this well, let me try again. I would like to ask the petitioner's agent to explain the petitioner's plan for dedication of the right of way for the Greenway. To see if that answer is helpful to this discussion.
Second, Seeley.
Is that, Dave, is that check all the boxes? All right, perfect.
Okay.
All right, motion by Shaw, no, well, to Brittany, yeah, but, so motion by Shaw, second by Sealy, all in favor? All right, perfect. Brittany, if you wouldn't mind coming up here and introducing yourself, please. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Brittany Lenz, representing Drakeford Communities. So thank you for that question. The short answer first is that yes, we are agreeing to the dedication. We will agree to Parks and Rec note with the timing of the first CO, with one caveat that we feel like is actually a benefit so that it's more of a guarantee that a greenway is going to be provided. So before the public hearing, we had a proposal that it would be a 10-foot sidewalk. The community response was that they wanted it pulled away from the sidewalk. So we have coordinated with P&G to hopefully make that work. The Drakeford company has been in contact with P&G. They are willing to facilitate it. We think that that's going to work. If for some reason it doesn't work, we want to make sure that we still give a greenway. So either way, we will have a note that says dedicating the greenway, using part of the PNG area that they can use. PNG will sign off on that. That will all happen prior to first CO. Or if for some reason that cannot happen because of PNG, the alternative, which is not the preferred agreement, is to go back to the original plan of having the 10-foot sidewalk. So either way, there would be a greenway connection. The preferred direction is to coordinate with PNG. We've already gotten that in motion. I don't feel like a 1-month deferral is going to change any of that, truthfully. I think we're going to guarantee that there will be greenway easement provided through the site. Does that answer? Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, that was very helpful. Is there any additional discussion around this? Do we want to revisit your motion?
We can very briefly.
Yes.
Again, the issue, it's really clear that the greenway easement would be dedicated and conveyed to Mecklenburg County prior to the issuance of the first CO. No reason why they can't use that language. And with the caveat of, unless maybe it doesn't work. From what I understand, the issue is the holdup and the issue, it's not a question of PNG. This is a question of whether or not the developer is committing to dedicating the conveyance, which is standard procedure. And this is trying to kind of have, oops, oh, well, it didn't work out. Let's go ahead and go back to what our original plan was. And I disagree that that there's a need for them to remove that comment. They should use the same language that every other developer uses in terms of conveying the land. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Winokur. Absolutely. Commissioner Shaw.
Thanks, Rick. That's clear and very helpful to hear your opinion clearly stated. My only, thought on this would be that I presume that if Piedmont Natural Gas doesn't allow sufficient use of the easement for the greenway, their unit count is going to suffer on a site that I actually think it's really plausible that they've managed to accomplish this design on this site. It looks to me to be a really difficult site. So if I were in their shoes, I would certainly not want to reduce my unit count further. So presumably that's why the backup plan is the 10-foot sidewalk. And I think in the circumstance that would be acceptable, with given what they have to work with here with the site, but just my own opinion.
If I may.
Of course.
No one has ever said that the appropriate greenway easement or the dedication of land would affect their unit count. I don't think that's an issue at all. Like no one, Park and Rec hasn't requested anything from them.
No, I
It's
guess
gonna
my
affect
point
their
was
unit count.
if PNG didn't, if they limited what could be built on the easement land, because I mean, effectively, that's within PNG's control, right? Then in order to build sort of adjacent to the easement, they're going to need 10 feet and presumably, I mean, I'm assuming they're not saying that because it's not an option for them, which I would understand given it's already a challenging site, but maybe I'm misunderstanding.
I think that what they're looking to do is to be able to have like, if we change we're in the middle of building and we change our mind kind of thing about it. This is not a question of affecting their unit count, changing their plans or anything like that. This was a conversation. Park and Rec, I had spoken to the planners at Park and Rec. They had a conversation with the developer early on. They were resistant to the language about the conveyance. It had nothing to do with changing their unit count. Am I right, Joe?
I never heard any reference to the unit count in any of those conversations.
So what my only point is that this is resolvable. We would serve a function in being a backstop behind making sure that this is done right and not a developer that wants to say, but I still want to be able to change my mind in the last minute. And that's what's on the table.
Thank you, Commissioner Winiger, Commissioner Shaw. If somebody has something else different about this petition that they would like to discuss, then please, by all means. If not, we can speculate all day about what intentions are, but what we have to focus on is what's in front of us right now. I would like to think that when we suspended the rules with the petitioner's agent, they have every intention of moving forward with this greenway. And that there is a scenario where we as a commission can have our cake and we can eat it too, with a greenway and a maximum unit count. Let's move forward with the motion. See how that goes. Commissioner Winiger, would you like to lead with the motion?
Made the motion to defer this.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Winiger to defer this petition. Do we have a second?
Stewart, second.
Second by Commissioner Stewart. All in favor of the motion to defer, please say aye.
Aye.
All against, no. All right, so that motion fails 5-2. Do we have a substitute motion?
Shaw, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second, Seeley.
We have to read.
Oh, I have
the-
to read my
We have to read the motion all the way up.
Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2024-102 as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Second, Seeley.
We have a motion by Commissioner Shaw, second by Seeley. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Against? Nay. Aye. Understood. All right. That motion passes 5-2. Thank you very much for the discussion. And again, let's hope that they are good at following through on what they say they're going to.
May I provide the,
The dissenting opinion, you
Dissenting
absolutely may.
thank you. Petitioner should be held to standard language, providing a greenway easement as stated in paragraph 3 of outstanding issues after public hearing. Failing to do so is otherwise a meaningless gesture about appropriate greenway construction.
Thank you, Commissioner Winiger. Do you guys have that down? All right, perfect. Moving on to our next petition, we have 2024-103 by Rocky River Road Partners LLC. Back to you, Joe, please.
The site is approximately 24.5 acres located on the north side of Rocky River Road, west side of John Russell Road, and south of Fern Spray Road. Site's largely wooded with a couple of single-family dwellings. Current zoning is R8 MFCD. For most of the site, small portion of N1A. Proposed zoning is N2ACD. The 2040 policy map recommends neighborhood 1 place type. The proposal would allow for the development of a community of 127 multifamily attached dwellings, would establish a network of public streets and private alleys, including access from Rocky River Road and the extension of Gloxina Road, would alley load most of the units and preserve a significant portion of the rear of the site as open space. Offers a menu of possible open space amenities, including enhanced plantings exceeding ordinance requirements, specialty paving materials, shading elements, and seating options. Provides an 8-foot multi-use path connecting through the open space from Lupine Court to an internal alley and Yawpin Road. Provides recessed parking in several locations to accommodate visitor parking. Establishes an 8-foot planting strip and 12-foot multi-use path along the site's Rocky River Road and John Russell Road frontages, as well as an 8-foot planting strip and 8-foot sidewalk on internal public streets. And limits blank wall expanses to 20 feet on all building levels, further limited to 10 feet on all corner end units that face a public street. Since the public hearing, the petitioner revised the site plan to address outstanding transportation issues, as well as to clarify the number of proposed dwelling units. There are no outstanding issues. Staff recommends approval. It is inconsistent with the 2040 policy map. However, the petition would help to address the need for new and diverse housing options in this portion of the city, which has identified housing as the highest priority need in this area. Petition is within a quarter-mile of Reedy Creek Nature Preserve and Reedy Creek Greenway. Also, a significant portion of the site has is preserved as tree save, common open space with an 8-foot multi-use path providing connectivity to the neighborhoods to the north and west. The site is within 1 mile of the neighborhood center surrounding the intersection of W.T. Harris Boulevard and Rocky River Road. The site is within 1 mile of J.W. Greer Academy, a CMS elementary school. Also, the existing zoning of the site allows for 75 multifamily attached dwellings, as well as 3 acres of development under N1A. And I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much, Chair. Do we have any discussion on this one?
I just have a comment.
Yeah, Commissioner McDonald, please.
I think this, is a really nice site plan and a great location for, to add a variety of housing in what is mostly single family detached around there. The location so close to Reedy Creek Park, which has a community garden and, walking trails, nature center. I think this really does meet the goals of putting housing near amenities and thoughtfully maximizing the units, and a great site. And I do know also that the nearby HOAs were very involved with this, with the discussions around this rezoning. So I'm happy to support this. And I can.
Thank you, Commissioner McDonald. Just quickly, is there anyone else that has feedback? Commissioner Seeley?
Yeah, I just want to make one note. I did notice that it said that CDOT determined that no traffic study would need to occur here because it was under a certain threshold for trip generation. As everyone knows, I'm skeptical of that in general, trip generation and how that works. However, I would be curious in the aggregate, because this is probably the one corridor inside the city of Charlotte that is growing very quickly with single family and townhouse development. So I'd be very curious, how that plays into effect. I know that we are not really putting projects together and thinking about it, but are we thinking about it in that manner? So I'm asking that to CDOT. If that made any sense whatsoever.
It did. I think the question to frame it is we do have a CDOT representative on the line, I believe. And I believe the question, Clayton, correct me if I'm wrong, is are we looking at traffic counts in a cumulative way along this corridor with both this other by right and other projects that are going on? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, during the rezoning process, we rezoning at individual project, but the projects that do provide traffic studies, we take into account the surrounding relative developments. So with this one individual project, though it doesn't meet the threshold, we still, look at the surrounding area when we're making our assessments and review of the project. However, during the permitting process, that is when we look at it further. And if it were to trip any traffic impact study requirements, then they would have to do one at that time. However, this one did not trip any requirements here for it.
Thank you very much,
That makes
Travis.
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Travis. Any additional discussion around this one? If not, I believe Commissioner McDonald wanted to make our motion.
Motion to approve McDonald. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of 2024-103 as it appears before us and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Second, Neely.
We have a motion by McDonald, seconded by Neely. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you all very much. Our next petition is 2024-105 by Angela Tillman. Holly, could you please take this one?
Thank you. This 2-acre site is located in the Hidden Valley neighborhood where we see single-family and multifamily uses situated among commercial areas along West Sugar Creek Road and North Tryon. Site is currently zoned neighborhood 1B, and they're requesting to go to neighborhood 1F conditional, which is consistent with the policy map's recommendation for neighborhood 1 in this area. The proposal itself is for a multi-dwelling development, which would include 2 quadruplex buildings for a total maximum of 8 attached units. The petitioner committed to a maximum building height of 40 feet, which is less than what the ordinance allows for. Class C landscape yard would be provided along that eastern property boundary, which abuts single-family uses. The majority of site would be free of impervious surface, as the development is primarily limited to the lower third of the property, with open space, tree save, and stormwater management areas taking up the middle and upper portions of the site. Tree save required is 15%, but they are proposing about 25% here at this site. Units fronting Tom Hunter would be rear loaded. Alleys serving between the 2 quadruplex buildings, so the rear units would be front loaded. Since the public hearing, the petitioner addressed all transportation outstanding issues. They clarified that the common open space areas would be amenitized, and they resolved technical revisions. There's one outstanding technical revision that you'll see listed in the staff analysis, though since the staff analysis that has been resolved, the petitioner already sent in their revised site plan, so I'll have that uploaded shortly. So we are all squared away for the decision upcoming on the 17th. Staff recommends approval of this petition. The proposal for 2 quadruplex buildings on a 2-acre property is compatible with the site's single-family and multifamily surroundings, and the petitioner committed to additional conditions regarding preferred architectural standards, a lower maximum height, and modest density, all of which help blend those single-family home characteristics into residential products that are denser than what exists east of the site. Petition creates a transition between the single-family detached homes to its east, but also helps transition to those multifamily developments that already exist to the west and the north. And I'll take questions.
Thank you very much, Holly. Any feedback on this one? Discussion? I don't have anything myself. We were making a comment here that this is the second one tonight where it's very difficult sites that people are finding a way to work with, and so that's admirable. Happy to take a motion.
Commissioner Neely, motion to approve. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2024-105 and the adoption of the consistency statement.
Second, Seeley.
Oh, man. Motion by Neely, second by Seeley. All in favor? Thank you very much. Next, we have 2024-111 by the Presbyterian Home at Charlotte, Inc. With Max, please.
Yep, petition 2024-111 is located along the west side of Sharon Road, south of Hazelton Drive and east of Sunnybrook Drive. The site is approximately 27.27 acres and is currently developed as an independent and assisted living campus. The site is currently zoned institutional CD, institutional conditional, MUDO, mixed use development district optional, and R3 CD, single family conditional. The proposed zoning is institutional CD SPA, MUDO SPA, and R3 SPA site plan amendments. 2040 policy map recommends the campus place type. Proposed site plan amendment is consistent with the campus place type. A little background on the site plan amendment. 2001, a petition rezoned a 23.8 acre portion of the site to institutional CD to allow for the development of 52 additional residential units. 2013, a 24.8 acre portion of the site was rezoned to institutional CD to allow for an expansion of the senior independent and assisted living facility consisting of 336 independent units, 3 single-family independent units, and 40 assisted living units and 96 skilled nursing beds. And in 2018, an 8.05 acre portion of the site was rezoned to institutional CD, MUDO, and R3 CD to allow for the development of an additional 130 age-restricted dwellings, 60,000 square feet of non-residential uses associated with the institution, and an open space amenity. The proposed site plan amendment divides the site into 3 development areas: Area A, zoned institutional CD; Area B, zoned MUDO; and Area C, zoned R3 CD. Development Area A would proposes to allow an additional monument sign to be erected near the intersection of Eastburn and Sharon Road. Development Area B proposes an increase the overall footprint of the MUDO zoned area of the site. The combination of 2 buildings shown on the 2018 rezoning plan into one larger structure, increases the maximum permitted height of the northern elevation of that building in Area B by 5 feet to allow for up to 83 feet, and updated architectural elevations for the proposed building. Development Area C does not propose any changes and will remain an open space amenity. Overall, the site plan amendment would not increase the number of dwelling units or the non-residential square footage or make changes to the permitted or prohibited uses proposed under the 2013 and 2018 rezoning plans. Since public hearing, the plan further limits the maximum number of age-restricted residential dwelling units to be to a maximum of 88 in Area B and Area A along the north and northwestern portions of the property, which is adjacent to Hazelton Drive and Fairheath Roads. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to the environment. The site plan amendment aligns with the policy map recommendation for the campus place type. Sites within a quarter-mile walk of a mixed-use commercial development, transit, and the proposed route of the South Park Loop Trail. I'm happy to take any questions at this time.
Thank you very much, Max. Any questions, discussion on this one? Commissioner McDonald, just a quick comment.
Yeah, just have a quick comment. It seems like this is relatively minor tweaks, so I don't have a problem with it. I do think it's a little sad that we're reducing the number of units in an area where I'm sure there will be high demand for senior housing for people to age in place. And that is my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner McDonald.
Just to follow up, I thought that the comment, Max, was that the number of units are limited to no more than 88, but not that the number was being reduced from what exists today. Can you clarify that?
Yeah, let me look at the plans. I may have misspoken. It was a change since public hearing. No. Plan. Sorry, give me 1 second.
There's a lot going on.
Living center still 10 trips a day? My
Says-
grandma lived there. She did not 10 trips a day. She did 0 trips a day.
Okay, it says in no instance shall more than 88 of the age-restricted residential dwelling units be developed in the development area B or in Hazelton, in development area B, in the Hazelton and Fairheath edge of the development area. So I apologize, I misspoke. They're not reducing the number. They're just limiting where those residential units can be located on the site. So that's, if we can go to the map, Emma, that's the north and northwest boundary of the property. See, Fairheath is the road at the top of the plan that stubs into the site, and Hazelton's the northern boundary. So they're keeping, and I guess what the neighbors may consider a large number of units away from the primarily single family area adjacent. I apologize. Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you.
Any additional comments? Happy to entertain a motion.
Shaw, motion to approve. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2024-111 as it appears before us and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Second, Seeley.
Motion by Shaw, second by Seeley. All in favor, please say aye. All right, thank you very much. Our next petition this evening will be 2024-116 by Fevin Nagash. Ali, please.
Thank you. This petition is a third of an acre located in the Hidden Valley neighborhood, an area with established single-family homes with goods and services corridors accessible to residents along the North Tryon and West Sugar Creek Road corridors. Property and surrounding lots are all zoned Neighborhood 1B. This rezoning request is to go up one zoning classification to Neighborhood 1C. These two N1 districts allow for the exact same uses, but differ slightly in dimensional standards. For example, lot area, lot width. A lot is just over 15,000 square feet. That's less than 1,000 square feet of what you could subdivide just under its current N1B zoning. If the rezoning were approved, this could, for example, if it wanted to, this is a conventional request, but it could be subdivided. But I do want to note deed restrictions were brought up during the public hearing. Deed restrictions stay on a property regardless of a rezoning. We, as the planning department, do not enforce deed restrictions and have nothing to do with them, but they stay on the lot and rezonings do not negate them. And the UDO does not, in no way would it supersede or nullify deed restrictions. This request is consistent with the 2040 Policy Maps recommendation for the Neighborhood 1 place type. It's a conventional petition with no associated site plan. Staff recommends approval of the petition. The request for the N1C district maintains the same single-family intent of the Neighborhood 1B district on the lot, but it allows for slightly more flexibility in those dimensional standards. Given the limited size of the rezoning area and the request to a district that is one step above the existing zoning, staff felt that this is an appropriate request that kept that Neighborhood 1 zoning and place type on the ground. I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much, Holly. I think just very quickly, between the public hearing and this evening, let's keep in mind deed restrictions, the petitioner, that is not something that we are considering as a part of this. We are strictly limiting our thoughts to the land use. And there has been some subsequent follow-up via email and everything else on this petition. I hope that you've all been able to engage and looking forward to the discussion on this one. So who would like to kick us off here? Start with Commissioner Stewart.
I have just a technical question. It's 0.35 acres. Is that like 13,000 square feet?
It's currently 15,000 square feet. It's just over 15,000 square feet. So currently in the N1B district, it's 8,000 square feet minimum lot area. So it's just over 1,000 square feet shy of being able to subdivide under its current zoning district if you wanted to subdivide.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Discussion? Comments?
Do you have a comment? Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Commissioner McDonald.
I don't really see a reason to deny this at all. I agree with staff's assessment. I was present at the public hearing and heard all the, a lot of the comments and from the very engaged Hidden Valley. And I consider myself a friend and an advocate for the Hidden Valley neighborhood. But I just don't think that this particular subdivision to add one house is really going to have the kind of unintended consequences that were discussed at length, both amongst the city council and at least the community members who were in opposition. So in short, I'm prepared to support this, and the community seemed to be very concerned about it setting a precedent that lots in Hidden Valley would be able to be subdivided, and I couldn't find one other lot with a similar characteristic with just this amount of vacant space on it. So I don't think that is a likely consequence. So those are my thoughts, and I'm prepared to support this.
Thank you, Commissioner McDonald. Any additional thoughts or feedback on this one, guys? Quickly before taking a motion, I agree wholeheartedly with Commissioner McDonald. I appreciate the Hidden Valley Neighborhood Association showing up and hear loud and clear what they have to say. I think that, again, knowing that some of what they brought up is not in our purview, one thing that I want to be cognizant of and that we talk a lot about in this setting is precedent setting, right? Whether it's certain down zonings, whether it's allowing certain uses along corridors. Once you do it one time, it feels like it can be a slippery slope for more petitions that are asking for similar allowances, right? I think that given the size and the unique shape of this parcel, I don't think that a subdivision here is going to be precedent setting, excuse me, in the sense that it would be equally mid-block with a perfect rectangle and something that was roughly half the size. I understand the neighborhood's concerns. I don't anticipate that being an issue. And I'm ready to support this one as well. So on that note, I'm happy to entertain a motion unless somebody else would like to add another comment or discussion here.
Motion to approve, Sealy. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2024-116 as it appears before us and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears right up there.
Shaw, second.
All right, motion by Sealy, second by Shaw. All in favor, please say aye. Thank you very much. Commissioner Shaw, I believe, we don't need a motion for a recusal, do we? Dave? We do? All right, well, we have a recusal for this next petition. Commissioner Shaw, if you would make a motion, please.
I make a motion to recuse myself from petition 2024-117 due
Nope.
to a conflict of interest.
Second.
All right, motion Shaw, second Sealy. We will see you in a few minutes. We'll send somebody out to grab you when we wrap up. Not a problem. Like to hear the door close before you start talking to Emma.
All right, now that she's gone.
All right, Emma, take it away. Thank you.
Petition 2024-117 is on a site that is approximately 29.80 acres located along the north and south side of Denver Avenue, east of Mulberry Church Road, and north of Wilkinson Boulevard. The current zoning is ML1, manufacturing and logistics with airport noise overlay, and a little sliver of N2B with the airport noise overlay. The proposed zoning is general office. The 2040 policy map recommends the manufacturing and logistic place type for this site. It is a conventional petition. Excuse me. And this petition is inconsistent with the 2040 policy map. However, through rezoning history observations and the current layout of the site, of the area surrounding the site, the area around the site is undergoing significant changes in land use and development trends. While historically this area might have focused on manufacturing and logistics, we have been observing a shift to include office space, light industrial operations, and mixed use developments. While this petition is inconsistent, it aligns with the changing land use trends in the area, such as the increasing demand of business spaces and mixed-use development supporting light industrial and commercial activities. I will take any questions the committee might have.
Thank you very much, Emma. Any questions, discussion, comments? Right. The only quick comment, I completely agree with staff's assessment that this area is no longer the industrial hub that it once was, and think that this is entirely appropriate, even though it is inconsistent with the plan as it currently stands. And on that note, happy to take a motion.
Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2024-117 as it appears before us and the adoption of the consistency statement.
Second, Winokur.
We have a motion by Stewart, second by Winokur. All in favor? Thank you very much. Next we have, oh yeah, if you want to get her real quick. I guess we shouldn't move on too quick, huh?
So as I was saying, that Aaron Shaw, we got to watch out for that one.
Yeah, I feel like if Douglas was here, that would have been way more brutal for you. All right, next we have 2024-118 by Weekly Homes with Max again.
Petition 2024-118 is located south of Lakeview Road, east of Reams Road, north of Hickory Lane. Site's approximately 9.4 acres and is currently undeveloped. Current zoning is N1A Neighborhood 1. The proposed zoning is N2A CD Neighborhood 2 conditional. 2040 policy map recommends the Neighborhood 1 place type for the site. The N2A district is inconsistent with N1 place type and approval of this petition would revise the 2040 policy map recommendation to the N2 place type. Proposal calls for the development of up to 132 multifamily attached dwellings, including duplex, triplex, and quadruplex units. All other buildings are limited to a maximum of 6 units. The following streetscape and landscape improvements are proposed. All residential entrances will have a sidewalk connection to the street. A 10-foot landscape yard planted to Class B standards will be provided along the I-77 right-of-way adjacent to the residential dwellings. A 10-foot Class C landscape yard will be provided abutting the N1 place type. Street trees will be provided internal to the site along alleys and between buildings as generally depicted on the site plan. 12-foot multi-use path and an 8-foot sidewalk will be provided along the site's frontage with Lakeview Road, an 8-foot sidewalk and 8-foot planting strip along Hickory Lane. Setback along Hickory Lane will be 27 feet to match the N1A district, which is adjacent. The following architectural requirements are proposed. All units will have garages. Units fronting on public streets, network required private streets, or common open spaces will have rear-loaded garages. Buildings are limited to a maximum of 44 feet in height. Front facades will include stone and masonry water tables. Facades abutting public and network required private streets will have blank wall limitations and minimum transparency. Solid waste areas, meter banks, HVAC, and mechanical equipment will be screened from view. The following transportation improvements are proposed. Vehicular access will be via a new public street intersecting with Lakeview Road and Hickory Lane. Left turn lane will be provided on Lakeview Road into the development. Parking will not be permitted on the proposed public street A within 100 feet of Lakeview Road. There's been several changes since public hearing. A 10-foot landscape yard planted to Class B standards will now be provided along 77. Street trees will be provided internal to the site along alleys and between buildings, and the building height has been reduced to 44 feet. Staff recommends approval of the petition upon resolution of outstanding issues regarding environment, as the proposed development would fill a need for housing in an area that has been identified as lacking access to housing opportunity by the 2040 comprehensive plan. Sites within a quarter mile of transit. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Max. Any questions on this one? Only had one quick question. Are street trees not required to be shown on the site plan?
The street trees are not necessarily required to be shown on the site plan, no.
Okay.
They do, on the updated site plan, they do depict the trees where they propose to locate them.
Thank you. And then is there any mention, and there's a lot going on as usual, was there any mention of amenitization of any of the dedicated green space, whether it's where the underground detention is going to be, or obviously the larger swath of the planned south portion?
Yes, they have provided a note, says where in areas where common open space is provided, such areas will be amenitized with usable hardscape features such as courtyards, seating areas, and include various landscape features such as grass, ground covered trees, and shrubs.
All right, that's what I like to hear. All right, on that note, happy to entertain a motion, guys. Unless there's any other discussion.
McDonald, motion to approve. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve the petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2024-118 as it appears before us, and adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Second, Seeley.
Motion by McDonald, second by Seeley. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Next, petition 2024-122 by Mentworth Commons Holdings. Stuart, please.
Yes, 2024-122 is approximately 0.33 acres located on the west side of Margaret Wallace Road, south of Idlewild Road. The site is currently a vacant out parcel, which is a part of a larger retail development. The current zoning is neighborhood services. The proposed zoning is general commercial conditional. The proposed plan is a tier 1, and the conditions are to allow all uses within the CG district with the following exceptions: adult electronic gaming establishments, car wash, drive-through establishments, employment labor service agency, vehicle fueling facility, accessory drive-through facilities. Staff does recommend approval of this petition. It is consistent with the 2040 policy recommendation for the commercial place type. The undeveloped site is currently zoned NS, and it's entitled to develop with neighborhood retail uses, which are very similar to the existing shopping center as well as the general commercial uses. The site is walkable to nearby neighborhoods and is adjacent to daily needs. And this site could increase access to goods and services offered in the existing shopping center. The site is also located along a bus route for CATS 52X Express Bus, providing commuter access to Uptown. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions, comments, feedback, discussion? Letting you get away easy, Stuart. On that note, happy to entertain a motion.
Shaw, motion to approve. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2024-122 as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Neely, second.
Motion by Shaw, second by Neely. All in favor? All in favor? Thank you very much. And Stuart, Joe and I said next time there's a Greenway one, it's yours. So you're getting Rick next time. All right, 2024-123 QCRE Investments LLC. Holly, please.
Thank you. This rezoning area is less than half an acre, made up of 2 parcels that are connected at their rear property lines, but bisected along the frontage of Toppin Place by another property. Site is generally located in a single-family neighborhood with commercial activity along the plaza. Site is currently zoned Office Flex Campus, and they are proposing to go to Neighborhood 1D. This proposal is consistent with the 2040 Policy Maps recommendation for the Neighborhood 1 place type. This is the conventional petition with no associated site plan. Staff recommends approval of the petition. Residential uses are not permitted under the site's current entitlements under Office Flex Campus. And development under the OFC zoning district would not align with the surrounding uses, all of which are single family, with commercial uses located nearby and centralized along the plaza. If approved, this rezoning would rectify an abnormal placement of campus zoning, and future residents on the site would be able to access goods and services along the plaza and an identified neighborhood activity center place type. And I'll be happy to take questions.
Thank you very much, Holly. Any questions, comments? Anything?
Just a short comment.
Go for it.
This is an area of very high demand for housing, and different housing variety. And so this seems like a no-brainer to me. McDonald.
Thank you very much. This is just reminding me of something, and Dave, this is actually more of a comment for you as we're thinking about the legislation that we're working through. This is in theory a down zone, but because it is coming from the landowner or the petitioner who will be the landowner, it would not qualify as something that could be undone by this legislation. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, I
Yeah,
just wanted to make
property owner
sure.
consent.
It's been very difficult to interpret some of that, so.
Yep.
So I appreciate that
Yep,
clarification.
good question.
Happy to take a motion barring any further discussion.
Motion to approve, Sealy. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2024-123 and the adoption of as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it also appears before us.
Shaw, second.
Motion by Sealy, second by Shaw. All in favor, please say aye. Thank you very much. Second to last petition this evening, 2024-128 by Penmouth Holdings. Back to you, Max, please.
Petition 2024-128 is located on the northwest corner of Mallard Creek Road and Hubbard Road and east of Garrison Drive. Site's approximately 5.24 acres and is currently undeveloped. Current zoning is institutional CD, and the proposed zoning is into a CD. 2040 policy map recommends the neighborhood 1 place type for the site. The into a district is inconsistent with the M1 place type, and approval of this petition would revise the 2040 policy map recommendation of the neighborhood 2 place type. Full background on the site. It was previously received rezoning approval in 2021 for a residential independent living facility with up to 107 units located in one building. Proposal calls for the development of 64 multifamily attached dwelling units. Buildings along Bissner Road are limited to duplex and triplex units only. The following streetscape and landscaping improvements are proposed to be a 12-foot multi-use path and 8-foot sidewalk installed along the site's frontage with Mallard Creek. An 8-foot sidewalk and 8-foot planting strip will be installed along the site's frontage with Hubbard Road and Bisner Road. Direct pedestrian connections will be provided from residential units to the street. A 10-foot Class C landscape yard will be provided along the western boundary of the site or abutting the neighborhood 1 place type. Street trees will be provided along the private alleys. The following architectural requirements are proposed. Building height is limited to 48 feet and a maximum of 2 stories. Buildings shall contain a maximum of 5 dwelling units each. Buildings shall present their front facades to the street. Usable front porches and stoops, a minimum 4 feet in depth and 6 feet in width will be provided. A variety of building materials may be utilized, including masonry, concrete, precast, and stone. Vinyl is a prohibited primary building material. Pitched roofs will have a minimum slope of 512. HVAC and solid waste areas will be screened from view. Following transportation improvements are proposed. Vehicular access will be via private alley network off Hubbard Road. Bisner Road will be improved to land development standards manual standards along the site's frontage. And the existing bus stop on Mallard Creek Road will be updated to an ADA compliant bus waiting pad. There's been several changes since public hearing. Street trees will now be provided along private alleys and between buildings as generally depicted on the plan. Usable porches and stoops have been added. There was also an update since the post-hearing staff analysis was completed. A tree survey was provided, and Urbis Forestry has stated that the remaining issues were resolved. And so that means that all outstanding issues have been addressed at this time. Staff recommends approval of this petition as the site is adjacent to the recently developed multifamily attached project located south of the Mallard Creek Road, designated as N2 place type. It's within a 1 mile walk of a noted neighborhood center and another 1 mile walk or 1 mile walk also to a commercial center. The proposed development would fill a need for housing in an area that's been identified as lacking access to housing opportunity by the 2040 comprehensive plan, and the site is served by transit. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Matt. Questions, discussion? Commissioner McDonald, please.
I'm happy to support this. I just had one comment for staff. Neighborhood center place type at Derrida Avenue and West Sugar Creek Road, that is downtown Derrida. Just a correction from someone who's not biased at all. And yeah, I just wanted to point out, the agent for the petitioner really went the extra mile to get community input on this. And I'm very happy to support it. It's quite appropriate for this location to have townhomes. Love the stoops and the townhomes facing the road in both Hubbard Road and Mallard Creek Road will improve the streetscape in that little location. And it's, as we say, it's within a mile of downtown Derrida, big plus. And a big park, Teresa Clark Elder Park, is about a half mile away. So, and very good connections. Greenway access is also less than a mile away. So it's a great location. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner McDonald. Any additional discussion? And with that support, Commissioner McDonald, I think you should make our motion.
McDonald, motion to approve. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2024-128 as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Neely, second.
All right, motion by McDonald, second by Neely. All in favor? Any against? Didn't hear any ayes down there. Hey, guys.
Yeah.
Aye?
No nays.
No nays. All right, unanimous. Thank you. And last but not least, we have Michael for 2024-130 by Abacus Acquisitions LLC.
Yeah, this is petition 2024-130. It's approximately 1.44 acres located on the west side of West Tremont Avenue, east of I-77 and south of West Boulevard. The current zoning is ML1 Manufacturing and Logistics. The proposed zoning is IMU conditional. The policy map recommends the manufacturing and logistics place type. So for the proposal, they are proposing 28 multifamily attached townhome style dwelling units. They do prohibit the following uses: adult uses, hotel, motel, nightclub, self-storage facility, vehicle fueling facility, vehicle rental, vehicle repair facility, and providing an 8-foot sidewalk and an 8-foot wide planting strip. They are improving the West Tremont Street frontage to meet Charlotte Land Development Standards Manual. They're limiting buildings to a maximum of 5 units per building. Driveway access for individual residential units shall be from internal private alleyways only. They're providing a minimum 25-foot Class C buffer on the northern portion of the property line. They do commit to coordinate with Mecklenburg County Park and Rec on a potential future bicycle ped path dedication area to Abbott Park. They provide walkways to connect all residential entrances to sidewalks along public and private streets, and they do provide some architectural and design standards. Did I miss one? Some changes after the public hearing. They have agreed to contribute $10,000 to CDOT for pedestrian improvements in the area. So the plan is inconsistent with the 2040 policy map, but the Innovation Mixed Use Zoning District is intended to accommodate those areas that have typically developed as industrial areas, but are transitioning from an exclusively industrial orientation to a broader mix of light industrial, artisan industrial, commercial, and moderate density residential uses with a more walkable environment. The proposed use consisting of 28 multifamily attached units in context with the adjacent mix of uses is consistent with the intent of the overall IMU district. The subject property request could provide additional transition between adjacent neighborhood 1 and aging manufacturing and logistics. The surrounding area is also seeing multiple sites rezoned for IMU. Access to housing is the highest priority need in this area, according to the EGF community reports. The petition may help address the housing need with this proposal of multifamily attached units. Said that the site is in an aging manufacturing area in the Wilmore community that is naturally transitioning to more residential uses. And with that, staff approves of this petition. Take any questions.
Thank you very much, Michael. Questions, discussion? I know we have Commissioner Stewart. Let's kick it off, please.
Yes, thank you, Michael. The question, this is the second petition that we've had tonight that is basically right on top of 77. Can you go back a slide or two for the site plan? Yeah, that one. So that bottom on the western edge with the building envelope, how close is the corner of that building to 77? And is there some restriction on how close we can build to major highways?
So that 25-foot buffer, that corner that's closest to 77 is running off of the 77 right away. Okay.
So that's like, that green is 25 feet. And if you go down to that bottom corner of the landscape yard, it's maybe another 50 feet to 77? 75 feet off 77?
Yeah, it's about 60, it looks like, 60 plus to 77, yeah.
Is 25 feet our minimum? I'm just curious, 'cause I think there's been 3 petitions recently that are kind of smack dab on top of 77, which doesn't seem like a great idea to me, but what do I know? Is there a minimum distance? Is it the 25 feet? Off a major thoroughfare? Does anyone know?
Yeah, typically a buffer is less than that, so.
10 feet?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions on that, Ron?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Whitaker.
Question for Commissioner Seeley. Why IMU? What's IMU and why? Or Michael, if you want to take that. Why IMU? I see the TOD and the mud O that's all around. What does IMU offer, this lot? And I'm just curious.
It's not what I would have picked for it. But I mean, it is sort of in the spirit of it, especially when you consider what has been developed around it already. A lot of the warehouses over there have been completely changed over to office space. Even some have, a little bit of industrial uses as well still. And quite a bit of that along Tremont Avenue has all changed over to multifamily as well. So knowing the history of the developer, I do actually think I do not get on my IMU soapbox here, just because the context of the site itself.
Yeah, and that we'd agree with that. That's kind of our assessment as well. It's transitioned out. We've got some adaptive reuse. This will help support that and keep IMU on the policy map. So if future rezonings come in, we can look at that as just the context of that overall kind of area between Toomey and I-77 for future rezonings, and rather than have a little pocket of neighborhood 2, since we're seeing a lot of IMU out there, it just made sense to kind of keep that from a policy standpoint for this project and then future potential rezonings and policy decisions from there.
Question one goes, is that
Thank you very much.
Not a problem. Anybody else, questions, concerns? My only question here is, and kind of in the same spirit as Commissioner Stewart, does staff have any, I guess, like obligation to consider road noise with a petition like this? And the reason I bring it up, I was not on the zoning committee at the time, but over by the Music Factory, by that big plant right there was a petition a few years ago that was also for townhomes. And correct me if I'm wrong, because again, I wasn't in the room. I believe that one was shot down by council. Am I correct?
I believe
Because of concerns about the
wrong.
noise. It's kind of across the street from the
remember,
factory, like right up on the.
Yeah,
railroad
I
tracks.
remember the petition. I can't remember what the outcome was. I don't know if it actually did end up getting approved.
I think they withdrew it because of imminent opposition, I believe.
Yeah.
And so that my question there is when it comes to road noise, right? I mean, they could put 100-foot buffer here and you're gonna hear the highway. Is that something that we consider? And I'm not putting my bias on this at all, really just an objective question. Is that something that we consider?
We apply the standard buffer requirements for it. If they were to propose putting up a sound wall or something, they would have to go through permitting for that. But we don't have requirements for sound walls in those situations. There is typically a distance that NCDOT needs projects off of interstates like that. And I don't think we've heard any concerns from them. But if they wanted to build something privately within their project, they would just go through the normal permitting process for it. So they could still do it. We don't typically require that, and it's not something in the ordinance, but we just ensure the buffer requirements met, and then if they want to enhance that with anything, they certainly can do that, but we didn't have anything that we asked for on that side.
No, no, understood, and I appreciate that. I think that, you know, that right of way off of 77 is probably where they don't want to see any work. And I guess where that leaves it is it comes down to the consumer, right? Whoever's going to buy these units, does the road nose bother them at that point? I think there may be some people on council that disagree with that, but we'll find out in a couple of weeks. All right, on that note, happy to entertain a motion.
Motion to approve Sealy, having reviewed the petition and consider the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition. I move that we recommend approval of petition number. You changed the slide on me. Yeah, 2024-130, as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it also appears before us.
I'll second.
Motion Sealy, second Shaw, all in favor.
Aye.
Thank you all very much. We'll see you in a month.